Renters are sounding the alarm about a growing housing dilemma. They believe the surging rental costs in our area are basically unsustainable. It comes as new data shows the year to year average rental listing in the Memphis area among the highest increases of all metro areas in the entire country. As Brad Broders explains, the issue is especially worrisome for those already struggling to make ends meet.
It can make you really depressed because you're not able to go out and do things you want.
Brooke Dean said her lifestyle is different these days. In the past 18 months, she said the Southwind area home rent for she and her fiance went up about 20% or $200 more a month.
With all these price increases, it's hard for the people that are, the blue collar to actually be able to afford things.
Real estate data show the average rental listing in the Memphis area skyrocketing 73% between April 2021 and last month. Such a surge is putting an even greater financial strain on families already dealing with other cost increases in their daily lives.
I think that they're driving up the real estate prices artificially, so therefore they can drive up the rents.
BJ McGee alerted ABC 24 about the issue from another angle as a former property manager. McGee's jaw dropped when he learned this Highland Heights home he sold in 2020 is now listed at $1,100 a month. Back in 2020, he rented it out for $750 a month. That's a 47% spike in just 2 years.
It just seemed to be incredibly unfair to anybody who's trying to rent in this town for that much of an increase.
McGee said he's worried about a looming catastrophe if the local rent increases don't stabilize soon.
Where are these people going to live? Are they going to have to double up houses? Are they going to have to accept more family members to live in their house? I don't know what the answer is. All I know is that it does not appear to be sustainable to me.
As for Dean and her fiance, with higher rent, they're making adjustments elsewhere to make ends meet.
Basically, we're just working to pay bills. There's no leisure time. We can't afford to pay for things that, we enjoy. It's all just groceries, utilities, and rent.
A local economist told ABC 24 the rent increase trends are expected to continue until there is more availability of single-family homes. That economist added supply chain issues also can delay new building construction.
And the fact that entire generations are about to find out that they will never be able to retire comfortably is going to change our labor market, our collective mindset, and our economy, and rip apart the fabric that holds everything together in our country. A broken retirement system means that we're losing one of the most important cornerstones of the American dream. Today, over 50% of Americans have zero money saved for their retirement years, including almost 30% of older Americans that'll soon reach retirement age. Although some can blame the retirement crisis on workers' lack of savings, the reality is that for the vast majority of workers in the U.S., it is getting impossible to afford housing, to afford utilities, to afford food, cars, fuel, monthly bills, healthcare, and education, and still have money to put aside for the future. If you knew that all of the years that you dedicated to work wouldn't lead you to a path of home ownership, better living conditions, and retirement by the time you got old, how would that make you feel? Imagine when millions of Americans start waking up to this too. Analysts say this crisis may wreck the institutions that our nation is built upon, and it will be felt by each and every one of us. In the U.S., we were taught to believe that we were all included in the American dream. We watched our grandparents' journey of building wealth through decades of hard work, which allowed them to retire comfortably and enjoy their golden years after so much dedication. We believed that if we followed the same path, we would end up in the same situation. But the truth is that we won't. And the younger generations are even farther from ever reaching that level of financial security. American workers have built this country and made our economy run every single hour of every single day. Today they work harder than ever, but still they can't afford the rising cost of living with wages that never adjust to inflation levels. The jobs executed by our grandparents and great-grandparents no longer exist. Those jobs have been shipped to overseas markets, where big corporations can exploit cheap labor to hoard billionaire profits. The wealth that would be otherwise distributed throughout the American society via wages of U.S. workers employed in our domestic industries remained concentrated in the top. as corporation leaders move their operations to countries where they can pay workers starvation wages. Americans have been competing for an increasingly smaller pool of good-paying jobs, and over the decades, each generation has gotten poorer and had fewer chances of building wealth. Without salaries that support a decent lifestyle and allow people to save for their future, Americans' financial health has greatly deteriorated over the past 5 decades. And a retirement crisis that's been in the making since the 1980s has finally erupted. Now, millions of people are reaching retirement with not enough or no money at all. Both private and public retirement plans are failing to provide adequate help. And younger generations, which were the main catalyst of the Great Resignation movement that led 47 million people to voluntarily quit their jobs in 2021, are becoming aware of the fact that they may not achieve financial safety during their working lives. And they are getting furious. A retirement rebellion is brewing. That is what a study conducted by REIT in partnership with 55 Redefined is warning. Citing data released by personal finance site Credit Karma, analysts estimate that for the average U.S. worker today retiring with $1 million in savings, they would have to work for 108 years, saving at least 21% of their after-tax income and having a balanced portfolio of secure investments. In other words, for millions of Americans earning $69,717 a year or less, the idea of a comfortable retirement where healthcare costs and living expenses are covered is out of their reach. According to the National Institute on Retirement Security, half of all working-age individuals in America, which represent 103.6 million individuals, do not own assets in retirement accounts. Of those, 27% of Americans age 55 or more have no money saved for retirement. At the same time, 25% of Generation X responders said they haven't set aside anything for their later years. For those aging Americans who do have retirement accounts, persistent inflation has thwarted their plans, worsening the $7 trillion retirement savings shortfall. Among baby boomers who are employed and saving for retirement, 17% said they've decreased their contributions to their retirement accounts as a result of inflation. Another 5% of respondents age 59 and older said they can't afford to contribute to their retirement account at all. 38% of millennials say they have zero or negative net worth, meaning they have more debts than assets. For Generation Z, more than 41% of respondents said their net worth is $0 or less. When all working-age individuals are included, not just individuals with retirement accounts, the median retirement account balance is $0 among all working individuals. Even among workers who've accumulated savings in retirement accounts, the typical worker had a modest account balance of $40,000. Furthermore, 68.3% of individuals aged 55 to 64 have retirement savings equal to less than 1 times their annual income, which is far below what they'll need to maintain their standard of living over their expected years in retirement. Even after counting an individual's entire net worth, a generous measure of retirement savings, 3/4, or 76.7% of Americans, fall short of conservative retirement savings targets for their age and income based on working until age 67. Due to a long-term trend toward income and wealth inequality that only worsened during the recent economic recovery, a large majority of the bottom half of Americans cannot meet even a substantially reduced savings target. That is particularly true for younger generations working in low-paid jobs. In fact, the study argues that Generation Z is likely to orchestrate the FIRE movement, which can be defined as a massive upheaval in the labor market that'll see younger workers stepping back from their jobs en masse, in protest to anemic wage growth in an era of ballooning costs for basic goods and services.